We are Group 1, made up of Dee Bunk Hatch, Marius Dahl, Elizabeth Frick, and Kobe Jordan. And we will be talking today about Sarepta Therapeutics and revenues and CEO pay within the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry is one of the most profitable and competitive industries in the world, bringing in an estimated $1.48 trillion in 2022. Pharmaceutical companies vary widely in size, from industry giants such as Pfizer and Merck, Eli Lilly, and others, and to smaller, more focused firms such as Sarepta Therapeutics. The industry has seen increased revenue year to year since 2001, and future projections continue to forecast growth in the segment. This is due in part to an aging population worldwide, driving demand for anti-aging products and maintenance medications for chronic diseases. Sarepta Therapeutics was founded in 1980 as antivirals. They later changed the name to AVI Biopharma and then to Sarepta Therapeutics in 2012. The company focused on antiviral medications and worked on treatments for SARS and West Nile virus in the early 2000s, and received a contract from the U.S. Department of Defense Threat Reduction Agency in 2009. In 2012, in conjunction with their name change, Sarepta shifted focus to rare diseases, and their current work areas are centered around Duchenne muscular dystrophy, limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, and Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. Duchenne muscular dystrophy typically afflicts boys and presents around 2 to 3 years of age. It results in muscle weakness and degeneration and often results in death before adulthood. Limb-girdle muscular dystrophy is defined as a diverse group of disorders with many subtypes categorized by disease, gene, and inheritance, according to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. It is named for the two areas that are affected by the disorder, which centers around the shoulders and pelvis. Unlike Duchenne muscular dystrophy, limb-girdle impacts both genders in all age ranges. Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, according to the Charcot-Marie-Tooth Association, is a neurological disease that causes decreased sensation in the peripheral limbs such as the hands and feet. Like limb-girdle, Charcot-Marie-Tooth expresses in males and females equally, and it is not usually fatal. Sarepta received their first FDA product approval in 2016 for a Duchenne muscular dystrophy drug called Exondys 51. This approval was then called back in early 2023, and accelerated approval was again granted in June of 2023. Accelerated approval is generally given for drugs intended to treat conditions for which there is currently no effective medication.
Yeah, so now over to their financial history. So Sarepta has routinely in past years reported a loss in net cash flows from operating activities. And it's not just them, by the way, but we've seen many similar companies, for example, like Pfizer, and very many of those similar big ones who also show a loss. And some of the reason for this is this loss in cash flows is common for companies that invest heavily in research and development expenses, because this industry is very much about always trying to develop more and find, do more research. How can we improve? How can we come up and solve this disease? So yes, Sarepta has put a lot of money into the research and haven't really got the results they were hoping for at all time, which is why they had in the last couple of years had a loss in net cash flow, which also then has affected their stock value, as we'll talk more about. One determining factor for how well Sarepta stock is performing can be linked to how well the drugs and treatments are performing, and then of course the drug they have themselves, because the drug they have in the market is doing very good, but still that's not really enough for them to depend on that through their whole lifetime. They always need to continue to develop as more companies are catching up. They're all developing and getting more into the same field as Sarepta, so they're trying to even improve. And then in October 2023, a study was conducted for their drugs that was guaranteed accelerated FDA approval. The study did not gain the expected results. This resulted then in negative outcome from this study led Sarepta stock to fall 37% and a loss of 3.76 billion in market value. So yeah, the investors had high expectation for this, and it didn't go as planned. And that's kind of how it is in this industry, because investors can expect one thing, but really with research and things we don't really know about, it's hard to say how it will turn out. But if it turns out, we could see a huge gain in the stock price. But here, didn't work out. So then a big fall, and this is just one example of how volatile stock prices are in the pharmaceutical when considering their performance of drug treatments. Yes.
Okay, we are now going to talk about CEO pay. In 2022, Sarepta's CEO, Douglas Ingram, was the highest paid CEO in the pharmaceutical industry, total of $125 million. What's interesting here is that in 2020 and 2021, Ingram's salary averaged between 1.3 and 1.5 million. Okay, so we can see a huge jump from the 1.3 to 1.5 million range all the way up to 125 million in the year 2022. That is one of the largest raises that I have ever seen. Okay, this increase in revenue was a result of change in vesting schedule despite the lack of Sarepta's revenue throughout these years. So right here we have a breakdown of Douglas Ingram's pay and salary. Okay, as we see in 2020, we've got the 1.2 million over here, and it shows the total and the other here. Okay, notice no equity right here. All right. Same thing with 2021. We see the salary increasing a bit, the 1.5. We see these other payments, no equity. All right. And then we see the salary 1.6, right? Slight raise in the salary, slight increase. But here's where the big kicker comes in. The equity, $123,314,818. Okay. And there's the other. That's the big kicker. And we notice as we've gone through this class that the equity that the CEOs are getting is huge part, and it's the reason why these CEOs are getting paid so much money.
As we saw in the previous slides, Ingram's change in vesting options led to a drastic increase in his 2022 salary. Allowing this change in Ingram's pay can be a beneficial decision for Sarepta. With their stocks being volatile based on how well their drugs and treatments are performing, this change in vesting options can incentivize Ingram to focus on the performance of Sarepta's treatments and seek further FDA approval. And if Sarepta performs well, Ingram can expect to see the benefits in his pay. And finally, despite the lack of revenue due to the nature of high research and development costs, Sarepta still continues to grow in the pharmaceutical industry. And that growth continues due to the demand of specialized treatments that they provide. While we saw a drastic jump in Ingram's pay in 2022, this is not abnormal for CEOs in pharmaceutical companies, as executive salaries within these companies, such as Eli Lilly, for example, often have exaggerated salaries due to stock returns. However, as we see Sarepta continue to grow, we can expect Ingram to have similar results in his compensation if he continues to leverage his stock options. And here are our sources for our presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment them. Thank you for watching.